Welcome back, everybody. So today I'm going to tell you a little story. I was out driving the 85 Corvette the other day, running a couple errands, pulled over to make a stop. Came back out maybe 10-15 minutes later and I was having starting issues. So I immediately was in a sense of panic and was just envisioning myself taking like a half an hour to get the car jacked up with wood and jacks in the middle of a Dunkin' Donut parking lot and changing the starter on my back, which in no way is fun. I didn't enjoy it when I was younger and I don't want to enjoy it now. So the other thing too was like, oh, well, if I get this thing flatbedded out of here, I can just imagine the tow truck driver just dragging the thing up, ripping the front bumper up because of how low it is, and then luckily the thing started up. So in order to not have to deal with that ever again, I just ordered a new starter and we're gonna just throw that in the car today. It may not be the funnest video to do, but I try to make it somewhat fun. Instead of just putting like a factory replacement starter in, I ended up buying like a high torque mini starter. So we'll just take a look at that and compare both of them, and we're gonna get that installed today and hope to God we go out there and not get stranded. All right, so here we go. So PowerMaster, mini starter, performance starter, it says right here. I will leave a link to this in the description. As always, instructions, bolts and shims. And there it is. It's adorable. A lot small, compact design. It also has this, so you can reset if you need to turn this, if you got headers in the car or anything like that, which is nice. I think it'll be fine just the way it is. So that's pretty much that. Seems probably maybe a little lighter than the factory one. We'll take a look at that too when we get the other one out of the car. So instructions, if you never did one before, there are shims and stuff. You got to check the engagement of the gear to the flywheel or flex plate, and then it gives you different assortments of mounting hardware for it. So looks pretty cool. So a little bit more fun, a little high performance starter instead of just the big old factory replacement one. So we'll just get ahead and get the car jacked up and get the old one out and get this thing in. All right, first things first, just gonna disconnect the negative battery cable. Either 8mm or 5/16 on a 1/4" drive ratchet will do it. Okay, now I'm underneath the car. I'm gonna just show you where the two bolts are. They're 9/16 heads on either side. There's one there, and then there's one right back there on the other side of these lines. If you have, this is a 4+3 stick shift car, and it does have these oil lines that run back here. If not, you probably shouldn't have anything here at all. You just have to move these out of the way a little bit. And then there's also the other wires that go to the solenoid up here, which are kind of hard to get to. What you can do is just undo these bolts here, slide the whole thing down, and then get them from the back once it's kind of hanging here. So, and this car did have shims, and it does have an aftermarket starter in it too. So we're gonna go ahead and just start dropping this thing out. All right, now with the starter down here, you can see the nuts you have to get to. So there's an 8mm right here, and then this one here is a 17mm for your power wire. So we're gonna go ahead and take these two off, and then we'll be able to pull this thing completely out of here. All right, so I got the old one out. The only thing I really ran into was, because of the size of this, is really wedged in between the exhaust, and then there's a bracket in the back here that kind of covers the knock sensor that was kind of hitting against, which you could probably take off, but I just kind of ended up just moving it around and it just kind of came right out. But other than that, just keep an eye out for those little things there. I mean, the size of this thing is just huge compared to the new one here, just to show you a size comparison. I also brought a scale out too. I'm just gonna weigh them real quick too and see what the difference is weight, just out of curiosity. Okay, now I'm gonna weigh the first one. The original one here. 22 pounds. And now we'll do the new one. £11. So it's an 11-pound difference. It's pretty crazy. The nice thing with this new one is that you can put it in here and hook the wires up after it's already installed because it's so tiny, which really works out well. So much more extra room. The other one pulling that out was really tough. I mean, that thing was wedged in here. You can see the size difference. So we're gonna go ahead and get this mounted and then we'll hook up our wires. Okay, it's just something little I just ran into here. The main power wire has this little tab on it here, and that is actually bottoming out and hitting on the solenoid and almost needs to be removed. So I'm gonna just cut that off real quick so it sits flush on there. The old style starter has like a longer, deeper bolt, and there's like a nut under here, and it gives it enough gap so it doesn't touch. So this is actually hitting the solenoid and won't let you tighten it down all the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut that little piece off, and then I'm gonna just go ahead back together with it. Okay, just as I thought everything was going smoothly, I just pulled it back out. I realized with the way the wiring is, the main power wire, it's kind of, you have to pull it all the way up here, and it was coming really close to the exhaust manifold, and then the other terminal wire was kind of laying underneath of that there. So I just figured through time it would probably wear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just reclock this thing down a little bit this way, push this solenoid off to the side more so it doesn't put all that pressure on the pulling the wire harness up top here like that. So if you end up doing this style starter, that may be something you want to do like right out of the gate before you put it in the car. There is 3 4mm Allen head screws down in here, and you can just loosen those and take them out, and then you could turn this. I'm probably going to just try to click down like one whole movement over here and see if that clears it up for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So right about there, I think we'll do it. So it's kind of similar to the way it was before. So we'll go ahead and just throw those other Allen head bolts in, see if it gives us the clearance we need. All right, I have it up here installed now, and you can see just by reclocking that, you can access the solenoid on top here so much easier. There's a lot more space. Before it was almost directly on top of the starter motor here, and it was really hard to get to the wires, but now you can see it. It's real easy to get to here. See it from the other side too. And then everything, the wiring is not being yanked on, and it's all far enough away from the exhaust pipe here too. Now this is basic small block Chevy starter. So if you have, you know, even an older small block, big block Chevy from like the 70s or 80s or whatever, this is the same common procedure. So even those old motors that we pulled out of this thing is like the same as what they used back in the day as well. So it's pretty simple. This new starter is actually really nice, and it's nice how compact it is for going back together with it. It was a cinch, besides having to reclock it and those little issues, but that's kind of normal anyway. So turned out good. All right, so that's it for today's video. So if you find yourself having to put a starter in your car, just a regular replacement starter is anywhere from like 60 to 100 bucks anyway. That one was $136 with free shipping, and it's definitely worth putting that in opposed to that big giant starter. You're gonna wrench your neck trying to get that thing back up in there. It took really no time to do. Once you figure out how to clock it and get it in there, it was really easy to do, and now the car starts up aggressively. So if you enjoyed the video, press like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.